Hi, this is Peter Friedrich, and today we're speaking with Summer Afzal about the issue in Kashmir. So, Summer, I want to welcome you and thank you for offering your time and being here, willing to express your
Thank you, Peter.
and your perspectives on what's happening in Kashmir. And you're from Kashmir.
Yes, I am. I'm a Kashmiri.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Summer?
Sure. So I have done my schooling from Kashmir. Afterwards, I moved to the other city of India for my college and later on for my job. So I have lived in 12 to 15 different cities of India, explored west, south, and north of India. And a few years ago, I moved to France for my studies, and now I'm working in Paris.
Okay. And with all this conflict that's been going on in Kashmir, it's been an ongoing issue for 30 years, 70 years. And there's nothing particularly new about conflict in Kashmir, sadly. With that context, why do you feel compelled today to speak out about Kashmir?
I mean, it's not a compulsion today, to be honest with you. The youth has been trying to send a word across since so many years now. With the digital media coming handy, we have been trying to reach out to as many people as we can, but somewhere the voice was really suppressed. It was somewhere choked. No doubt that the kind of suppression and the kind of atrocities which have been happening in Kashmir, it's not new. Under one ruler or the other, there have been so many stories and so many facts and truths for Kashmir, wherein we can actually relate to the suppression and unconsensual decisions taken for the Kashmiris and the soil. But today, I feel that this is high time that we talk about it. This is high time that we reach maximum of the audience now, because right now, the decision which has been taken by the central government of India it's not just violation of constitution, but it's also, immense violation of human rights as well. And we want the different stakeholders coming from different corners of the world to know it and also raise a voice against it. Because if you look at past 10 days of Kashmir, it's the 11th day that we haven't been able to speak to our families, and everyone is choked over there. Literally, journalists are trying to cover as much as they can, the local journalists, which I'm talking about, and they go locally to the airports, try to plead to the passengers that somehow pass this pen drive or pass this information to the people of our team in India and in Mumbai. This is utter suppression. I mean, when we talk about the decision which is being taken by the central government.
So let me stop you there, Summer.
Sure.
What is this decision that's been taken by the central government?
It's the abrogation of the Article 317(35)(a). I'm sure that the audience which we are trying to target, there are very few and a very small percentage of people which actually know the background of these articles. I would not want to go into really detail about this article because there are so many people talking about it right now. And I would really appreciate the audience of this video to understand and go through the books and the history of Kashmir. It is not a special status given by India. It was an agreement which was signed between two different stakeholders. And 370 was something which was a temporary status not given by India. It was not something which was granted by India. It was a kind of agreement that when the people of Kashmir will have a consent over something in future, when this gets resolved, that's when 370 would be erased off. India right now is trying to, I would definitely try to mention here that it's the central government. I would not want to include all the people of India in this right now, because I've had a lot of support as well from a lot of different activists and journalists coming from India. But the central government is trying to feed the Indian population with absolutely baseless points. 370, scraping 370 is going to get development in it. Well, if you look at the interview of the ex-finance minister of Kashmir, which has actually served under the BJP government as well, Hasib Drabu, you would actually come across the points of 370 that development was never a problem in Kashmir when it comes to, there was no hindrance with 370 because of that. There is a clause in 370 which mentions that companies can come to Kashmir to invest. There was definitely central government is trying to portray it for gaining more votes, for gaining more, having a good impression on the population of the nation. But I want to ask those people, can you look at Jammu right now? Jammu it's a part of Jammu and Kashmir, right? It's half part of the state, which is now a union territory. But when we look at the investment and the progress of that city, we have IIT introduced, we have AIMS introduced, we have IIM introduced. Well, 370 was involved, impacting Jammu as well. Then how come we have that progress there? The point is that whatever the population, the audience is getting fed with, they are just going on with that flow. Nobody wants to go back to the history. Nobody wants to go back to the books and understand the facts, understand why was it really created. And coming to the point of development, now these points, I think this whole decision has been, it is violating two different parts of the whole scenario. It's the constitutional thing and the ethical thing. Coming to the constitutional thing, I strongly believe this has been the most unconstitutional and undemocratic decision taken by the country, because as I said, there have been many points which have been wrongly portrayed in front of the Indian media and population, and people are interpreting it absolutely according to what BJP is feeding them right now. So, I mean, when I watched Rajya Sabha session on August 5, I was scared, because the whole session was literally about mocking at the opposition. People who were supporting BJP were literally mocking at people who were trying to criticize this decision. And that overconfidence in the political leaders in Rajya Sabha was scary. Was not just scary for Kashmir, but it was scary for the whole nation. Because right now, power is in the hands of people who themselves had criminal records, who have been involved into so many violations in the country. And now they talk about democratic India. Now they talk about the biggest democracy of the world. I mean,
well, and so if I can interject there, Summer, as you said, that this power it's vested in the hands of these people who have these criminal records. And in Rajya Sabha, you saw this debate, which in your perspective was basically premised on making a mockery of the opposition. So you were talking about this from a constitutional angle as well as from an ethical.
Yes, absolutely.
And from an ethical angle, Ahmed Shah, the Home Minister of India, he's the one that introduced this bill to actually to strip Jammu and Kashmir of statehood. And he's led this charge on the latest moves in Jammu and Kashmir. But Ahmed Shah, as you mentioned, these people with power who have criminal records, he's himself facing charges still.
That's my point.
Over incidents from 10, 20 years ago, where he's accused of ordering the hit, the killing of people, he's accused of ordering a hit on a hit man that was hired in order to kill a minister in the government of Gujarat, who was threatening to spill the beans on Narendra Modi's rule in this 2002 pogrom against Muslims in Gujarat. So it's this whole spider web, this whole long connection of malevolent, malicious, devious criminal acts. And here now he's Home Minister of India, and he's leading the charge to scrap this articles.
That's what my point is, Peter. yeah, that's what my point is. See, they are trying to justify their decision by saying that, oh, there were two different families of muftis and abdullahs, and they wouldn't have the powers of expression anymore. All right, fine. Let's assume for a second that they are doing it for the progress of Kashmiris. But tell me something, when you are trying to target these two families, there have been many different parties which are literally working for the people of Kashmir as well, and which is the youth. You talk about Sheila Rashid Shora, you talk about Shah Faisal. They have quit their primary careers just for the sake of Kashmir right now, just for the sake of Jammu and Kashmir's progress. Why have you detained them? Why have you arrested them? If the central government was this fair and this innocent about, with the clear intentions towards JNK, why the voice of Kashmir is getting choked right now? Whichever corner of JNK and Ladakh, I would talk about these three regions, whichever corner was showing the protest or the retaliation, that corner was snapped with the internet. And for a few days, Ladakh was having the internet facility, and the moment the protests were on roads and the people of Kargil were trying to express their views, that how can anyone decide for our region without our consent, internet was snapped after that. So the point is, if the central government thinks that it is for the progress of the people, why are they choking us? It's been 11th day. People are literally craving to hear their loved ones, their families' voice, and we cannot. We are helpless, absolutely helpless.
Let me ask you about that, Samir. It's as you say, it's been 11 days of this total communications blackout in Kashmir, this blockade on Kashmir.
Right.
And I've spoken with several Kashmiris now who they've gone 10, 11 days without speaking one time with their families when they're used to speaking with their families on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your own personal experience? What's happening with your family? When was the last time you spoke with them?
Well, I'm a person who would start the day with calling my mother and literally ending my day with one. So we would have video calls, we would have audio calls, and I would just try and ask her what did she do the whole day and stuff like that. I'm sure that all Kashmiris away from home and all expatriates away from home are doing the same. And I'm sure those expatriates are able to feel us right now, that we have to start the day without even calling anybody, without hearing the voice of our family. And after 10 days yesterday, I got to speak to my family, but it was so overwhelming. We were angry, we were emotional, we were helpless. It was, my mother is a very practical woman, and she said that what has happened has just happened. We have to deal with it now, and let's be strong about it. But when she was missing me, or she misses me, I'm sure that she cries even more. It's tormenting, Peter. It's literally a mental torture for not just the people who are trapped inside Kashmir right now, but the people who are away. We cannot focus on our work, we cannot focus on our daily lives, because we know that central government, without anybody's consent and discussion, have sent thousands of troops to Kashmir and have choked every human being over there, and they cannot convey what they're feeling right now. And even the videos which were on YouTube or any other digital media have been taken down. And I'm, to be honest, really not sure for how long our videos would be there on YouTube, because that's what India is doing right now. That's how they are choking everyone's voice. And after all that, when we try to think practically, we cannot. We are angry, we are disappointed. And people like me, who have always tried to convince the other people on the other side that, you know what, let's be practical. Is it really good enough that we are having protests and stuff like that? I feel ashamed, because it's a shame for the nation right now. They have not only violated the constitution, but they have violated human rights. And they didn't even take anybody's consent for it. Imagine that right now, John Derris has submitted a report online, and no one from Indian media was ready to cover his report.
Who is this?
It's John Derris. He's an economist, and he has recently submitted a report in solidarity with the team from India. And the irony is, no.
And this is this the team that traveled in person to Kashmir?
Yes.
Yes. And they just recently released a short documentary of what's happening
absolutely. And it's such an incredible report because it tells you about the reaction of people, the situation on roads, what's happening on roads, and the conclusion and the prediction. Because if the nation is thinking it's going to be in favor of anybody, it can backfire as well. And if it backfires, it can backfire really bad. I mean, when I got to know about this on August 4 in the night, and 5th to 6th of August, I knew it, that internet has been snapped and I cannot speak to my family. We all were restless. And randomly, I received a message from a girl who wanted some help. She was stuck in Mumbai with her mother in the ICU. And her father had, he was in Kashmir because he wanted to get some more money or something like that. And he got stuck there. She didn't have anybody in Mumbai. And we had to, all the Kashmiris across globe, some people tried to help her in some or the other way. We tried arranging the donors, blood donors. We tried arranging some money for her, some mental support. I've been calling her. It's not just about one family. Every Kashmiri has been directly impacted with this decision. And if the central government and the nation and the people pro-BJP are right now trying to tell us that, you know what, stay calm, it's for the progress. Where is progress if the president is not in favor of us? We are scared. We have thousands of troops, standing on the roads, outside the houses. How can we feel safe when there have been tales and truths and facts and numbers that army has been involved into mass rapes, mass killings, encounters, and those are not fake news. If you look at the international human rights teams, you can actually see so many reports and details about such mass rapes and mass killings. We cannot deny it just for the sake of it. We cannot just deny it just because it's the central government and it can never be wrong. No, it's not. This central government, this party which is in power right now, has been openly trying to announce that they want to make India a Hindutva Rashtra. What do they mean with it?
So let me stop you there, Summer. So you say that the current party in power, the BJP, they've been openly announcing that their intention is to make India into a
lot of leaders out of them have been saying that.
Many leaders of them, and certainly this backing organization, the RSS, has been emphasizing for decades. Now, as they're doing this and they're pushing for a Hindu Rashtra, which is a Hindu nation, let me ask you, with all of this talk about how the scrapping of these articles 370, 35A, and the stripping of statehood of Jammu and Kashmir has been done in order to bring about development in that region, which, from what you've been saying, you don't buy, you don't believe that argument. So they're saying that that's their motive, but what do you believe is the true motive behind these latest actions?
Peter, it's a very difficult question for me right now because like many others, we are absolutely clueless what's going to happen next. With this big and drastic decision overnight, we really cannot gauge what's going to happen next. But if I look at the manifesto which BJP had, the kind of promises they're trying to do, for sure, there would be some sort of investments coming in. Like recently, I read somewhere that Ambani is ready to invest in Kashmir. Such gimmicks are only to, prove to the nation that, you know what, this is what we were talking about. So such things would definitely happen. But the point is, will a Kashmiri feel safe and respected? That's the question right now. The question is not whether there would be progress or not, because if you literally look at the statistics, there are many different cities of India which are still lagging behind Kashmir. If you look at the economy before 2008 of Kashmir, it is pretty much good. And I would not say that it doesn't need progress. It definitely needs, but definitely with the consent of the people of Kashmir. That's what my my concern is right now. Right now, a Kashmiri is looking for the acknowledgement, and the respect of opinion. I mean, the consent for changing something in the I cannot even call it now a state now, but in the region, because no doubt that there are people from Jammu who are happy about it. I appreciate it, respect it, but there are also people who are not happy and who are just not agreeing with the decision right now. And scraping 370 or any other article is not the question anymore. It's about the right to decide for your own soil. That has been taken away. I am not going to support or say in favor of Abdullahs or Muftis, because Muftis were the ones who actually opened the gate for BJP into J&K. And this is how a common Kashmiri was scared. I mean, this is what a common Kashmiri was scared about, that anything can happen overnight then, because if we are trying to let them open and give them undefined and endless power, anything can happen. And it happened. So what happened has happened. We cannot really change it right now. But the point is, Kashmiris need that acknowledgement and that space to decide for their own selves. And right now, it is not happening. And the future, no, it's not promising at all. Because with so many troops around, with the power and the audacity to disconnect internet calls and everything from the valley, and I mean, choking millions of people together, it tells a lot about the overconfidence and the nature of for grantedness which BJP has right now. So it is scary. It is definitely very scary and worrisome. And I don't think it is just scary for the valley. It is going to be scary for the nation, because the nation has been bifurcated into two different mindsets. One, wherein people literally don't care about that the human rights have been violated. Two, wherein people want to talk about it, but they are choked. If you look at the recent updates, a celebrity named Anurag Kashyap wanted to tweet something about Kashmir. He got threats that his mother or daughter would be raped or whatever. It was a threat to him. And he had to delete his Twitter handle. This is where the nation is going to. This is the fear. The person sitting in Mumbai wanted to raise a voice against the current party in power, and he's getting threatened. This is what we need to think about. I don't think that people with such liberal minds are anymore allowed in our in our ecosystem right now, wherein they will be able to talk, they will be able to raise their voice. The funniest thing which I see these days is that the moment you try to criticize BJP, people call you anti-India. I mean, that's hilarious, because
well, the implication is that if you're criticizing a single political party, that you're against the country. But that's imagine if I'm from America. I can only imagine if I were in America and I criticize the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, and somebody tells me that I'm anti-American because I'm criticizing a political party. It's the political party and the country are not synonymous.
Exactly, that's my point, and that's hilarious. I mean, I have more of non-Kashmiri friends in my life, because I've always lived outside Kashmir. After when I was 18, I left after my schooling. But the hilarious part is that they try to give me examples and reasons that, you know what, this happened with Kashmiri Pandits, this happened with army. I say, my question to them is, do you really think that I'm trying to think based on the religion right now? No, I'm trying to think based on humanity right now, which is going for a toss in Kashmir. Democracy has gone to ashes right now. How can we believe into a government who is trying to promise us progress, but has arrested more than 200 to 300 mainstream leaders and activists and bureaucrats from Kashmir.
And on what charges?
And on what charges? And nobody knows where they are. Shah Faisal was to travel, I think, outside India. He was at Delhi airport at 4:30. He spoke to his wife. And after that, she doesn't know where he is. This is utter violation of democracy. What do they talk about when they say that we are democratic? On what basis? BJP has violated every clause of the constitution right now. Rajya Sabha was a place of mockery for people who were trying to say pro-Kashmir. And on top of it, they are giving blatant lies to the media, to the audience, that this is for the progress, this is for, pro-women. Well, 370 had nothing to do with women. If you're trying to talk about the state subject and, how the woman was not to own a property if she gets married to a non-Kashmiri and stuff like that, trust me, India has got much bigger things to work on right now. The lynchings, rapes, murders, the Nirbhaya case, and there are endless of such cases. Just because, and yes, I would like to mention one more point here, that these days, when I'm on Twitter, I receive a lot of hatred from the trollers saying that you jihadi deserves this. Well, I'm an 88 born. And at the age of 1 or 2, I didn't even know what was happening around. So when they are trying to target every Kashmiri into the same group, how will we feel connected? How will we feel? How will we will think that this is for the progress of our soil? I have been called a jihadi, I have been called a killer, I have been called someone who supported exodus of Pandits. Really? We have been trying to fight and discuss this with any other person, and every sane Kashmiri Muslim is supporting Kashmiri Pandits. No one ever says that Kashmiri Pandits should have left. And whatever has happened, we still do not have clear records who got it done. So, let's not divert that topic over there, but my point here is that when these people try to give me an example and try to tell me that you gotta keep calm because this is for the progress, and you remember what happened with the Pandits, one hate and another, it's not going to make anything productive for us. If we keep on remembering what happened with the Kashmiri Pandits, we gotta understand that when Pandits were asked to leave, Kashmiri Muslims have been suffering since then. It's not, we haven't been into a luxurious, place wherein, everything was going according to what we wanted. No, it's not like that. Just that the media hasn't covered the things, and those human rights documentaries have been taken down the media all the time, literally all the time. It doesn't make India any saint or any pious entity. We need to understand this.
So, Summer, as you mentioned, with this Kashmiri Pandits issue, of course, nobody that I've spoken with, nobody that I've ever encountered in this research, in writing, speaking about these issues, has ever justified what happened to the Kashmiri Pandits to me, or offered some sort of support for it. Of course, two wrongs do not make a right.
Absolutely.
This is a totally illogical argument that because one is against because a person is against one human rights violation, therefore they must de facto be in support of a second
right.
violation. It's very illogical. I want to mention, as you brought up, there are so many other issues throughout India that do seem of greater importance, more urgency than this issue of the scrapping of these articles somehow being a way to provide increased rights for women in Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
And you brought up the Nirbhaya case. And as we move to a close, I just want to reference, of course, the Nirbhaya case is one of those urgent issues that kind of represents a larger problem in India. But as far as bigger fish to fry, not just in India, but in Jammu and Kashmir, last year, there was this 8-year-old Muslim girl,
Yeah, that's right.
Asifa, who she was picked up, abducted. She was gang raped for about a week. She was murdered, and her body was discovered dumped in a field. And then afterwards,
Right.
as people were arrested and were charged with this crime, as the prosecutors attempted to move forward with prosecuting the accused, the BJP actually, well, people held rallies in support of the accused, and BJP ministers, 2 BJP ministers in particular from the state government, attended these rallies to offer support for these people who were being accused of gang raping this Muslim child. So as far as bigger fish to fry, in Jammu and Kashmir alone, if somebody's sincerely interested in the plight, the rights, the safety of women, that would seem to be a much more urgent issue to address than the autonomy of Jammu and Kashmir.
That's right. I mean, if you look at the Kashmiri Muslims and compare to the other parts of India where the other Muslims live, I haven't seen any family. It's very rare that a woman wouldn't be working. We have such a high literacy rate in women. Women like me are stepping out of Kashmir and literally making name and doing so well for themselves and for their family. My point is that central government has tried to manipulate and portray Kashmir as a very, a very poor and need kind of place. If the people of Kashmir get back that, I wouldn't call it a power, but that right which they deserve to decide for their soil and their people, we can do much, much better. We cannot do better than like this. If we are choked, we are strangulated, and then Ahmed Shah comes and says that, you know what, this is for your progress. No, I don't believe in that. No Kashmiri would believe in that. Even if it was for the progress, and even if they wanted to take away the legacy of Abdullahs and Umar, Muftis, doesn't matter. It should have been done in a very constitutional way so that they are gaining and, they're winning hearts of people in Kashmir, but they haven't. They have failed miserably there. They have failed in gaining that credibility, and they have failed in making a Kashmiri feel secure that, we need to be part of India. It's a very sensitive thing to do. When we talk about India as a whole and the problems, I think the biggest problem in India is the patriarchy and the religion-based decisions. So that's definitely altogether a different thing to talk about. But when we talk about Kashmir, I have seen the potential of my people. I have seen people literally, crossing the. I would say they have such huge potential that people from NASA, people from different big entities. I've seen Kashmiris working at such big organizations, and I know what the potential of a Kashmiri is. Indian media is trying to portray to the whole nation that they need us. It is for the betterment, and we would have more jobs. Jobs, really? Is this what the current issue is? The main issue is the integrity of a Kashmiri. The main issue is the acknowledgement and the respect of the identity of a Kashmiri. I, as a Kashmiri, wouldn't want that I have to show my identity card to everyone at checkposts and someone asking me, where are you going? Why are you going? What were you here for? We are scared. We are scared when we walk on roads. We need to have our lives back. We don't just want to breathe. We want to have our individuality back. And if that is not happening, forget about progress. People wouldn't even count in central government anymore. And this can backfire to the whole nation, because if it has happened with Kashmir, it can happen with any state.
You know, in summer, I've heard that several times now from Kashmiris that I've been speaking with about the issue of these ID checks where you're within your own home, the place of your birth, and you're just walking down the street and you're stopped and you're compelled to show your identification papers to somebody who's not from Kashmir in
Absolutely.
order to prove that you belong there. And that's very disturbing.
It's very disturbing, and I think for Kashmiris like me, the normalcy was something else. Living, living in a colony or probably playing with kids was not just a part of my daily life. I've encountered and I've faced blasts right in front of me. I have seen people running here and there, and getting injured in blasts or something like. And I was very small. I was really small when I saw something like that. But such things have made us really strong. I feel that in a conflicted region, the situation and the circumstances really tap very creative corners of your brains. And I'm really glad to see that so many Kashmiri people are coming up with different ideas and ways to express their feelings. I express my anger with the help of my art. I have seen people expressing their anger and their feelings with the help of music, helps with the intellect of Kashmir. We are not underdeveloped by brain. Indian media and the central government is paralyzing our brains by choking us and by strangulating our voices. If we get the international platform to talk about it, we have literally endless tales to tell. We have facts and figures to show. If only we do not have the fear of getting, harmed. Because any Kashmiri living outside Kashmir within India is scared to talk. I have so many people messaging me on Twitter with a fake name and saying that I cannot reveal my name because I'm trying to tweet about these things and I live here and I'm a student and I don't know what will happen to me. I don't have a back here. So it's that fear. We need to come out of it. And in case if it happens, if there is a dialogue between the international stakeholders and India, we need to have some international involvement in it. If there is a situation where if central government agrees to have a dialogue with the people of Kashmir, let's say a representative of Kashmir, we need to have the involvement of international stakeholders, because this is high time now. We are scared and we are not really sure whether we are safe on our own soil anymore.
Well, the voices of Kashmir and the voices of Kashmiris certainly need to be unmuzzled, and they need, as the primary stakeholders in this issue, they need to be the ones who are consulted first and foremost about the future of Kashmir.
Absolutely.
So in conclusion, Summer, I want to ask you, what is your feeling about the future of Kashmir? How do you think the future of Kashmir looks?
It looks blank to me right now because the way the voices have been choked, I'm not really sure how it would come out when the curfew has been removed and people have the roads to walk on. I'm not really sure about it because I've been getting a lot of mixed reactions. Some people are absolutely shattered. Some people are still craving for azadi. Some people are still they haven't really it hasn't sunk in. They are really not ready to accept the fact that this happened overnight, and anything can happen in future now, because this is what we all are feeling. If central government has the audacity to do something like this without the consent of any mainstream stakeholder, anything can happen in future, and that needs to be fixed. That needs to be controlled. Otherwise, things can get literally out of control in future. And I genuinely pray that what Kashmiris are asking for, we get that. We need peace. We need the acknowledgement of our consent. We need the respect of our individuality. And I genuinely pray that it happens. And I genuinely pray that the people of the other cities and states of India try to understand the facts and history of Kashmir and understand why there is this retaliation.
Summer, thank you for your time, and thank you so much for offering your opinions and your perspective, your feelings on this issue. I am glad that you've had an opportunity to speak with your family, to at least be in touch with them this one time, but I hope you can get back in touch with them and return to that routine again soon.
Let's hope so.
I hope that this curfew is ended very soon.